Good afternoon and welcome to The Paper Thing, Season 5, Episode 10. Today's episode, Emma, but not by Jane Austen. It's a 4-paper show. Listen, I haven't put today's first paper into the paper window, so let's do that. I got very little sleep for various annoying domestic reasons. Basically, a scared child meant that I ended up having to sleep upstairs to protect everyone from the bogeymen. There were no bogeymen, but I didn't sleep well on the sofa. So do bear in mind today that this is an episode where I am absolutely tired of my box. I shall tell you in a second, but the people on her are Indian Knight, Judith Woods of the Telegraph, and Libby Purvis of the Times. All awful people in their own special ways. If you want to know particularly about how awful and why they're awful, do check out today's newsletter edition, which is free to read. Boom, there. Right, so we're going to start with The Sun, we often do. Then we will move on to The Telegraph for an embarrassingly inefficient... hold on a second. An embarrassingly inefficient run through The Telegraph, speed run through The Telegraph. I think I can do The Telegraph in 1 minute 30 today. That's how little I'm interested in what it has to say. And then we will do The Times and the Daily Mail in the traditional order. So, right, let's start with The Sun. Oh, by the way, hello Mark, how are you doing? Hope you are well, hope you had a good weekend. Right, so, yeah, as I don't, if you may not have heard me mention, but due to the fact I had to sleep upstairs to reassure a scared child that there was no one creeping around in the upper floor of our house, I haven't slept very well, so I'm most likely going to be losing my mind slightly. Thank you, C122H122. Mustard. Right, so starting with The Sun, front page of The Sun. Sarge promises Xmas is safe, Christmas is safe. I don't believe him. Lewis Hamilton was in a pretty hardcore crash in the F1. They give it the headline, Lou, lucky boy, Hamilton cheats death in crash. Did I catch the monster at least? I did not. Mark Kenosis. I was singing in a friend's garden yesterday afternoon and we saw a little mouse. Oh, that's nice. Right. Main story, of course, main story in almost all the papers this morning is Emma Raducanu's triumph in the US Open. And of course, they're all being very weird about it. Do check out the newsletter if you want to know specifically how weird columnists have been. But in the meantime, here's a very weird front page from The Sun. Brit celebrates US win. Father is tough critic, but even he is pleased. You're better than I thought, says Emma's dad. She was kind of making a joke based around a Tiny Temper song, but that has been lost on The Sun, because of course it has. Moving inside, on page 3, how you Duan, Jenna Duan, chills in a bikini, a far cry from her latest hot firefighter role. The US actress 40 stars in TV show The Rookie. Right, I'm not familiar with her or the show. Story about Priti Patel once again seeming to have breached the ministerial code. It just gets relegated to a tiny column on page 2, the page where you're most likely to miss something, where Harry Bunter Cole writes, Patel in meeting breach. On page 3, Brian May landed his helicopter in the middle of a cricket pitch on the way to a wedding. An onlooker said, I've heard of rain stops play, but not May stops play. There was no onlooker. Fully a Sun journalist made that quote up. Frugalist, the trending phrase on Twitter being she's 18 was the most normal island thing to happen since the last thing that happened. Yeah, Sun, not one for irony. Good afternoon, Industrial Pet. You are correct, C122H122. Brian May also tore his arse while gardening, and we must never forget. On pages 4 and 5, too young to drink, M celebrates with chalk. Sun, just anyway. Grand Slam, double booked family visit on day of the final. She was apparently meant to go to China to visit her grandmother, but could not do so, of course, because she was winning the US Open that day. And a few people who betted, who made bets on her early on, have made a lot of money, but not that the Sun's glorifying or pushing betting or anything. But Sun betting is one of the Sun betting is one of the ways that the Sun actually makes most of its money now. On pages 6 and 7, Emma won for tennis. Emma won for tennis. Anyone for tennis is that what they're going for. Nation inspired as 9 million watch win. Inspired. Tessa Sanderson says it's a great victory for diversity and that tennis is no longer a middle class sport. Emma Raducanu may be from an immigrant family, but she is middle class. She went to a fee-paying to a selective school, and her parents both work in finance. On page 9, Kim Kardashian wore a zip-up leather balaclava. So they give her the headline, she's Gimp Kardashian. 1.312 cargo monster ships in an Ace Christmas, the world's largest cargo ship, arrived in the UK yesterday, packed with Christmas gifts. At 1,312 feet, the Ever Ace is the length of 4 football pitches. Remember, importantly, that's you have to, if you're in a tabloid, measure things by the length of football pitches. Actually, not that helpful in helping the reader visualise things, but just what you do. Hundreds watched in awe as the ship docked in Felixstowe, Suffolk. Well, the people from Suffolk are baffled by modern life, so I'm not surprised that they were impressed by that. On page 9 also, Andrew Swerve's sex case hearing. Let's minimise that. Chronotherm, don't know about you, Mick, but I've never heard of a middle-class Romanian. Andrew Swerve's sex case is the headline. Prince Andrew is to swerve a hearing in his sex assault civil case today by having no representatives taking part. Yeah, of course, because he's awful. And the donor row around Prince Charles continues, but they put that in a tiny window. On pages 10 and 11, battle to save Britain's Christmas. PM's new Cold War. Plan to stop winter lockdown, third shots to the over 50s. If Boris Johnson has a plan to stop winter lockdowns, I'm calling it now, there will be a winter lockdown. They're cutting PCR tests and stuff. Does Suffolk have fire? If they do, it's something that they are scared by, like Shere Khan in the Jungle Book. On page 13, Megan Fox wore some clothes. Letter to prisoners laced with drug. A letter sent from Parliament's library to a prison inmate sparked a drugs probe when it was found to contain traces of ecstasy. Okay. I mean, why don't you swab the toilets in Parliament, see how many traces of drugs you find there. On page 15 and 16, Strictly's back. Sweary chef's girl on her cha-cha chances. I'm not scared of the judges. After all, I'm used to dad, says Tilly Ramsey. I fully expect that her father does not act like he does on Ramsey's Kitchen Nightmares when just hanging around in the house. On page 17, in footsteps of dead para, I felt Brov's spirit in Kabul. A paratrooper says he felt the spirit of his Afghan war victim brother when he helped in the Kabul airlift. Absolute military propaganda, and pretty grim at that. Friar Ventus, MDMA in prison does not sound fun, to be honest. No, I don't think so. Megan Fox wears outfit. Good for her. Yeah, good for her, exactly. James Bond's love of beer led to him buying his own boozer back in 2017 to save it from demolition. Having snapped up the Fox and Pheasant and Chelsea, Singer has taken his passion one step further with a new Amazon TV show all about home brewing. Grant. Frauds of Date TV flop. Frauds of Date TV flop. A flop first date contestant dubbed the worst ever as a convicted fraudster. Brad Gordon, 33, was mocked as cringeworthy after failing to charm date Yasmin, 38. He bragged he was a property developer who owned 7 cars and a wolf, but had sneaked onto the hit Channel 4 show despite being jailed for fraud offences. Serial con artist previously posed as a doctor and Interpol agent and got car finance on luxury motors. Never cars, always motors. Including a Bentley Continental, a Mercedes and an Audi S5. Self-styled soul singer, also known as Brad Gilbert and Brad Inglese. Fraudsters always have incredible assumed names. Was said to have stolen thousands of pounds. He vetted potential lovers by checking their credit ratings. His license from jail is believed to have run out at the end of 2020, so he's still classed as a serious offender when he duped show bosses. A source said it's no surprise He tricked his way onto the show. He's a career con man. Yasmin is lucky she sussed him out quickly. Gordon was convicted of 13 counts of fraud. Canterbury Crown Court in 2015. He got 6 years jail. Tricked 2020 Productions to appear on First Dates. But Channel 4 has pulled this episode from its streaming service. It insisted necessary checks and procedures were followed. Self-styled soul singer. I mean, what does that even mean? People lie on date, not news. Yeah, exactly. And I think like, I don't know. The Sun doesn't believe in rehabilitation either. If you've been to jail, that's it. If the Sun could have their way, they would just have it stamped on your forehead. On page 25, Council's potty ruling. Skull and Very Crossbones. Pirate flag ban. Gran says she feels like she is enforced to walk the plank after being ordered to take down her pirate flag. Maria Lambert, 62, put up the Jolly Roger in her garden for her grandkids, but shots were fired across the care workers' bow when someone complained to the council, which took action. She was given a week to remove the 5-foot flag as it breaches advertising rules. Any flag can be flown in the UK as long as it represents a country. Well, okay. The Skull and Crossbones does not represent a country, does it? Maria of Holden, Norfolk, also flies a Union Jack, which does not break rules. She said, it's not like it's damaging anyone's health. Yeah, but if you got to have... the Sun will be like, oh, you got to stick to rules, unless it's a rule that deems unnecessary. Sun public hangings for all bad people. Yeah, they love that. On the front of the gold supplement, what Ole tells Ron he won't play every game. Man United 4, Newcastle 1. Just skipping over all the unpleasantness with Ronaldo again. On page 26, Icon Boogie's Maria dies 69. Not nice. Maria Minidola has died at age 69. She was one of the singers with Baccarat, who recorded the song Yes Sir, I Can Boogie. On page 27, exclusive, daughter says she's cut off from family. The heartbreaking secret rift behind our Yorkshire farm. To millions of adoring fans, Ravensseat Farm is the idyllic home of Clive and Amanda Owen and their 9 charming children. But behind the Channel 5 series, Our Yorkshire Farm lies a sadder tale for Clive's oldest daughter, Rosie. Today, the 34-year-old reveals how her relationship with her dad and the shepherdess stepmom Amanda has soured beyond repair. Family business turned into monetary benefit for the Sun as ever. Red Tick Sheet, she accidentally put the flag of Magnovia up. Ronaldo, just do it with consent. Yeah, exactly. In the TV reviews, Vigil gets a bad review. In the recommendations tonight, Jamie Oliver together, just like the rest of us, the Oliver family missed out on lots of celebrations over the past 18 months. As Jamie says at the start of the new series, they have been able to mark 2 18th birthdays, his parents' retirement, his and Jules' 20th anniversary and their 21st. So, 20th anniversary and the 21st. So, this is like a thing about doing special meals. The complaints department on Comedy Central 9 p.m. Is basically Room 101 redone. And Alma's Not Normal, BBC 2 is... what is it? New comedy. And MTV Music Awards is on tonight at 9 p.m. Will they show Conor McGregor attempting to beat up Machine Gun Kelly on the red carpet? I doubt it, but I would watch that. Is there any way they could both lose? Fry Bentos, remember when Jamie Oliver laid off all his staff? Yes, indeed, I do. I've not got any time for the naked chef and his naked desire for profits. Don't let work make you sick is the thing in Fab Daily. They tell you how to avoid eye strain. RSI, I've got so much RSI. I've been typing non-stop for the past 15 years. Weight gain. That ship has also sailed. Stress and anxiety. Oh, hello, my old friend. Gastroenteritis, no, I'm fine for that. Migraines, get those sometimes. Back pain, definitely got that. And dry coughs. Does your kids pack a punch? Yeah, probably. Dear Deirdre, today in Dear Deirdre, Dad was so upset not to be a granddad. Hobby a flop, so I used male hooker. I have longed to be female for more than 60 years, writes someone. Dear Deirdre, as is quite common with this page, offers sensitive and gentle advice. But this is in a paper that is needlessly and persistently transphobic. So Dear Deirdre acts as almost like an island of sanity within the horror of the General Sun. And Uncle slept with me and dumped me when I was 16. I slept with my uncle for the first time. Our relationship started with some innocent hugs here and there. I'm a woman of 30, and now he's 28. And he's 28 years older. He had been married for 10 years at the time when he took my virginity. Jesus, horrendous. While you were over the legal age to have sex, I'm sorry to say he groomed you. It's not your fault. But sex with him is classed as incest and is against the law. Yes, pretty horrendous. Incredibly horrendous, in fact. Solid and sensible advice from dear Deirdre there. But this is it's a grim sort of entertainment page for the Sun reader, isn't it? In the letters page today, the £50 letter comes from Roy Walter in East Sussex, and he writes, "We already know who this year's BBC Sports Personality of the Year will be. Emma Raducanu. What an incredible win on Saturday night to be crowned US Open tennis champion at just 18. This young lady plays with no fear and a smile on her face. She not only beat an extremely formidable opponent in 19-year-old Canadian Leylah Fernandez, but was up against the partisan New York crowd, obviously rooting for her opponent." Oh, God. Howard Gardner, who writes in quite often, says, "The situation Prince Andrew finds himself in must be even more worrying for the Queen than the discord between the Crown and Prince Harry and Meghan. I wonder if she ever asked Andrew if there's any truth in Virginia Giuffre's accusations. If not, I would have liked to be a fly on the wall. I wouldn't, because she'd say, 'Oh, Andrew, is this true?' I say, 'Oh, no, Mother, not at all. No, not at all. I can't even... Let me sweat it to you that it's not true.'" Right, moving on. Trying to sell you a vibrating platform that can help you lose weight. Called the Vibro Station. New from Crappy Products Limited, it's Vibro Station. Moving on. What happened with Machine Gun Kelly? What do you mean? Basically, we don't know why they had a falling out, but there's pictures of Conor McGregor trying to punch him. Mark Kenosis just looked up Dear Deirdre's comment. Imagine being the photo model who plays the uncle. Yeah, except no, that story is not a photo story about the incestuous uncle. The casebook this time is Eddie's wayward ex-girlfriend. So, there you go. Luckily, the photo models aren't going to have to pay anyone incestuous, I would hope. They're trying to sell you getting your smile fixed. And in the sport, Mad Max Verstappen crash deliberate is the claim. And on the back page, miracle. It's a dream come true for Emma Raducanu. And Lou, I'm lucky to be alive. Oh, there's an illustration online. Oh, blimey. And not in the paper. Minus 69, 69, 69. The triple negative nights there from me and on the Sun. Give me your score. 2. Mustard. Right. Time to do a quick roll call. Then we're going to do a run through, a speed run through the Telegraph. Let's see if I can do it in under 1 minute 30. I think it's impossible, but I do it because I think it'll be amusing for you to watch, particularly as I'm... Thank you for the posture check. Particularly as I'm essentially hallucinating from lack of sleep. It's a small but welcome turnout for the early stages of the first show of the week. I'm, of course, the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. I would like it if you did. Also in the chat, another TT viewer, C122, H122, Demimad, Friar Bentos, Frugulus, Industrial Pet, Kinu92, Chronotherm, Markanosis, Morin Scale, Red Tick Seed, and the Stream Elements bot. So, let's get on and... as I attempt to... look at the size, it's ridiculous. As I attempt to... Mark Kenosis rates the Sun minus 69, Fraudster's Imaginary Wolves. Fraudster's Imaginary Wolves does sound like it would make an excellent fall record as well. Right, so... newspaper box. Boom. Switch to the Daily Telegraph. Yeah, thank you for the reminder, C122, H122. Right, here we go. I mean, 1 minute 30. It's it's a kamikaze mission through this, really. All right, here we go. And the time starts now. Right, front page of the Daily Telegraph, of course, has Emma Raducanu on it, and the story, Johnson to rip up COVID restrictions briefed in by the government. Nick Timothy's potato head is on the front saying, we cannot tax workers until the pipsqueak. Reforms will have to be bolder, as if he'd know anything about that. Right, Raducanu and Ready Deal with being a superstar is on pages 2 and 3. She's the daughter we all dream of, but mothers be warned, writes Judith Woods. If you want to know more about that, do read today's newsletter. It's just unhinged. RHS gardening army to fight climate change. Prince of Wales intended to meet controversial donor, of course, did his corrupt as anything. Jazz passports ditched in bonfire of restrictions. Use equality laws to end no platforming, experts say. Just absolute madness, and more censorship from the government hidden under the cover of destroying censorship. Starmer's navel-gazing essay will not win voters, says Labour MPs. We've not seen the essay yet, but I mean, I think that seems fair enough. Rising scammers preying on too polite Britons. I don't think Britons are actually that polite at all. Taliban forced female students to wear robes. Oh, is anyone surprised they've done that? 2 men with links to Saudi consulate in LA aided 9/11 plot. Again, Department of No Surprises over 20 years on. Musk takes giant leap over billionaire rivals with 3-day space trip. Absolute madness in the letters. Tim Stanley says book burning is back and writing is terrifying. Oh, shut the fuck up. An actress can't play Indiana Jones. He's male to the core, says Melanie McDonough. And Tony Lodge says our energy policy needs a radical rethink. Always got to have one boring one on there. Is your heart suffering from circular stress? Cardiologist Dr. Boone Lim tells Luke Mintz how the constant pressure of low-level lockdown stresses could have aggravated our blood pressure. And finally... right. And finally... Nearly did it there. And finally, in the Mary Churchill diaries, Britain never, never shall be slaves. In our final extract from the wartime diaries of Churchill's daughter, the year is 1945 and a victory in Europe is in sight. They also review New Order in Manchester, which gets 4 stars, and Trevor Noah in London, who gets 4 stars also. That's the Daily Telegraph. Nearly did it in 1 minute 30, but let's say, 1 minute 45, closest I can get to that. Next time, we'll break the 1:30 barrier. Mark Kenosis, Fraudster's Imaginary Wolf sounds like a boiled sweet from the 70s, in my opinion. Mark Kenosis, if anything, Tim Stanley doesn't find writing terrifying enough. No, Tim Stanley's still suffering from PTSD after having worn a bow tie and been laughed at by builders. Hello from the Business Factory, SK the Crusader. Did you receive the recordings I sent you? Nothing creepy. Recordings for SK's upcoming video. Right. Oh, awesome. Good. Moving on. Newspaper, but excellent. That's really good. I'm glad you did. Right. Moving on to the Times. Here we go, and I hope the Business Factory as well today. Moving on to the Times. Front page of the Times. Raducanu, I'm ready for anything. Main story on the page. Huawei infiltrates Cambridge. Absolute xenophobia going on here. Really predicated on and balanced on some really weak stuff. At bottom of the page in the kind of preview deck. Blood test for cancer. Sex case snubbed. Jab passports on hold. Afghan study ruling. Job search boost. And Hamilton's escape. SK the Crusader, Business Factory is fine. Just being left to my own devices to learn my shit. Well, that's good. I guess that's what you can ask for. On page 2 of the Times, raising tax on businesses will kill off investment, says the CBI, which is what they'd always say. Checks on EU goods may be delayed for Christmas. More mayors to help levelling up. Fucking hate the way that the papers do this. Of course they do, because they're fully bought in with the Conservative agenda. But levelling up is a made-up thing. It's a fictionalised thing. It's a thing. It's pure Conservative Party rhetoric. But you get this stuff in the paper said like, just straight suggestion, levelling up. Fuck off. Slinker Meyer escaped a work meeting early, so I did actually make it today. Hey, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Mark Kenosis, Tim Stanley bow tie tweet. While the anything beginning, I despise the English, could go so wrong. It's a climate war, so dig for victory. This is about the Royal Horticultural Society saying dig up concrete gardens, concreting in front of houses and stuff, and put gardens there, and we need to dig for victory. It seems to me that since we exited ourselves from a vast trading bloc, it's become harder to get the food we need, and so now we're having to return once again to wartime ideas that were required, a long time ago, because we were literally cut off from the European mainland by the Nazi forces. Does anything help economy in the times of just punching the poor? Option 2. Fight climate change by digging graves for. Getting rid of lawns would be better. Yes, it would be. Marathon runs over by 568 metres. Long distance runners pride themselves on going the extra mile. However, the organisers of the Brighton Marathon felt obliged to apologise after accidentally making its course 560 metres too long. The blunder, put down to human error, was only spotted after about 7,500 runners had set off from Preston Park on a course they believed to be 26.2 miles long. After racing his way to the finish line in the city's seafront, Neil McClemens didn't seem to mind as he won with a time of 2 hours 33:44. Verity Hopkins won the women's race with a time of 2 hours 52:11. In a downbeat statement on Twitter, Brighton Marathon said it hoped the extra 0.35 miles on the course had not marred the experience for participants. We would like to apologise to our marathon participants that the course today was measured 568 metres too long. The statement said, "We are wholly disappointed this affected our runners and we hope it hasn't marred the experience." You know, it happens. Clouds part for another week of Indian summer on page 3. On pages 4 and 5, of course, they cover Emma Raducanu with a number of creepy headlines. Grace, good looks, and fluent Mandarin will net a fortune. Mother's Chinese heritage gave me self-belief to win, is a quote from her. Queen sends message of heartfelt congratulations. Online, they had compared her to Kim Kardashian, and in the paper they say Raducanu slips into her little black dress and a whole new life. Just creepy, 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 creepy. Is that not just a king-size marathon? Yeah. It says Farah Bentos. This is cursed. Absolutely cursed. Yeah. Blood test that spots 50 cancers early to be offered in the NHS. By the way, if you want to really read some cursed shit about showing how insane the Emma Raducanu columns have been, and we're going to come to Libby Purvis's shortly, which has the worst opening paragraph I've seen in ages. And remember, I read some cursed shit. Do read the newsletter today. It's all about these bizarre columnists projecting their stuff onto Emma Raducanu and taking a story that's a good story. Like, you know, incredible that she would go from being a qualifier to winning the US Open. It's an incredible feat, but they've turned it into a weird thing about British identity and whatever shit they wanted to write in their columns. Anyway, on page 9, Town seeks a royal pardon for Abbott who defied Henry VIII. Seems a little too late, lads. Andrew's lawyers snub hearing into sex claims. Look at how, like, the Sun calls it a sex case, which is really a way of describing most of their writers, particularly Rod Little, and the Times calls them sex claims. The claims are that he raped someone. That's what the claims are, but they have to have euphemisms around this because it's Prince Andrew. Yeah, paedophilia, says Slinkerman. Dan Jones, 3142, says, I've not had enough sleep for the Livy Purvis story. Well, I'll give you a pre-warning when we're coming up to it. On pages 10 and 11, vaccine passports can still help defeat winter wave. They're just hedging their bets with that one. There's a new lockdown in China to contain an outbreak. Fearful BBC job threat over job cuts and brain drain. The atmosphere of fear and loathing at the BBC is demoralised new staff fret over creeping politicalisation of senior roles. No, they fucking don't. That is a fucking Times insertion into this. Job cuts and a fresh assault on the licence fee. The Times has obtained a copy of the BBC's 2021 employee survey, which provides a snapshot of the anxiety. Obtained it. Page 15. Afghan interpreters given guards as Taliban threat follows them to the UK. Dubious about this one. Mother with cancer chooses to lose leg to save unborn child. Horrible story. Can only wish her well. 16. Jam sent smart motorway careening to £200 million loss. The smart motorways are the dumbest thing. White males fall behind as more students go to university. This is the fucking lie, right? The biggest number in terms of group of people going to university is still white males. The number has declined slightly as the numbers of Asian men and Asian women has increased, and there's been increases in other groups. Right, that's it. Right, that's it. But it has to be framed as this kind of great replacement, white destruction of the white race shit. Right, absolutely skew. Numbers skewed by GRT folks also. Yeah, exactly. Gang in mass theft of farm GPS devices. Another story on that page. Public oppose protection for extremists. Let's have a look at what this bullshit is. Surveys suggest that almost half the public would not support proposals to let extremists and Holocaust deniers sue universities after being silenced. Hope Not Hate, the campaign group, has warned that under proposed freedom of speech laws, racists and Islamophobes could claim compensation if they're no platform. Oh look, it's an unintended consequence. On page 19, wreck hunters dive into coastal cleanup. Europe leaves behind on green heating. IVF doctor calls for infertility warnings on contraceptives. That was a big story over the weekend. You often find that the Monday papers basically just rip off what was already in the papers over the weekend. Times 2 has a big front cover about work stress. On front of the game, Elliott's ankle injury. Liverpool starlet suffers horrifying injury during 3-0 win at Ellen Road. But Leeds owner claims his player Pascal Strujic should not have been sent off. If you break a player's leg, you should probably be sent off. In the comment pages, Claire Foges is back, one of the worst columnists in British media, and that's really saying something. And this time she's taken a kick, not at GRT people, as she so loves to do, but at other women. Flexible working demands risk women's rights. If workers assume they can leave the office early once they become mothers, employers will simply hire more men, she writes. Fuck off. That, of course, predicated on a tribunal decision last week that she totally twists and distorts for her own purposes. Edward Lucas says, our fear only makes Putin more powerful. He's Russophobe and constantly writes this shit. Helen Rumbelow writes a load of old crap in the notebook, really not worth getting into. But here we go. Warning, 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 warning. We are about to discuss Libby Purvis's Raducanu column, and more specifically the first paragraph, which I will read to you in full, because I want you to understand how truly deranged this person is, and also how many other blue-tick columnists have been talking about how brilliant her column is, just as they did about India Knight's also extremely creepy column about Raducanu yesterday, an act of fetishizing of a teenage girl by a columnist whose partner was allowed mitigation in court because he lives with her, despite having looked at category A images of child sexual abuse. Right, so here is the first, and that is never mentioned in the Times and has never been addressed by her. Here is the paragraph from Libby Purvis's column. How must it have felt to be a young Afghan woman hearing about the tennis final, or across some border even seeing it? How shocked or inspired you might be by two teenage girls thrilling the world with their agility, skill, and split-second mental reflexes? What comfort might you take from knowing about Edimo Raducanu's starry maths and economics A-levels, and Leila Fernandez fresh from her high school diploma and driving lessons? Would their triumph, because a match like that is a triumph for both, make you feel bitterly despairing that female freedom, education, and dignity are being slammed down again in your own nation? Or would you, Afghana, manage to hope that the atavistic bullying doctrines of the Taliban will not be seen more clearly as the aberration they are and scorned by a saner world? She actually wrote that. Afghana is in there for a start. Imagine you watch a brilliant tennis match by two incredible players, both of whom have privileges of all sorts. And you think, do you know, watching this is what Afghan refugees need. I mean, the paper I write for will continue to, disdain refugees and write about the crossings of the Channel as if it's an invasion. But let's do some more weird shit about immigrants and immigrant status and people with mixed backgrounds. Let's do that. Let's be really fucking weird about it. It is genuinely one of the most disturbed openings. And the thing is, there are, beneath the line, even from Times readers, Times subscribers, there are many people saying, this is weird, right? But from the columnist class, you get a beautiful column from Libby Purvis today. It is disgusting. Yeah, C122, H122, to be a refugee, be good at sport. Also, Raducanu's parents are in finance. She's, as I mentioned earlier, they're a middle-class family. She went to a selective school, whatever. She did an incredible she's an incredible tennis player. Her triumph at the US Open is without compare, and it should be considered as that. But no, because if you're Libby Purvis, you're a columnist. If you're riddled with columnist brain, she cannot be a brilliant tennis player simply achieving an incredible feat. She has to become a symbol. She has to, in the words of Indian Night, be compared to the Britishness of a warm pint or whatever. As if people like warm pints anymore. It's so creepy. It's disturbed. If you want to see how even more disturbing the weirdly fetishizing column from Indian Night was yesterday, read yesterday's edition of the newsletter, which was an omnibus of many terrible Sunday columnists, including Daniel Hannan. So, be warned. Right, moving on. I mean, my brain is... I took so much psychic damage reading Libby Purvis's column alone, but then I moved on to Judith Woods at the Telegraph, and it just kept going, where she called her the perfect teenager, and it's kind of weird stuff. It's like they're setting her up. The crash will come. Yeah. And in the birthdays today, Stella McCartney is 50, Oscar Arias, the president of Costa Rica until 2010, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1987, is 81. Barbara Bain, the actress in Mission Impossible 1996 to 1969, is 90. Jacqueline Bisset, the actress who was in Bullet, among other things, is 77. Peter Cetera, the musician from Chicago, If You Leave Me Now, etc., is 77. David Clayton Thomas, the musician from Blood, Sweat and Tears, is 80. Professor Linda Coley, the historian and author, is 72. Lord Neil Davison of Glen Clover, the QC Advocate General for Scotland till 2010, is 71. Alan Devlin, the playwright, is 70. Domenico Dolce, the fashion designer from Dolce & Gabbana, is 63. Alain Ducasse, chef, known for the restaurant Alain Ducasse at the Dorchester, is 65. Nicandro Durante, the chief executive of British American Tobacco, boo, until 2019, is 65. Niall Fitzgerald, the KBA, the chairman of the British Museum until 2014, is 76. Eric Hirsch, the Holocaust survivor, writer and educator, known for the book A Detail of History, is 93. Goran Ivanisevic, the tennis player, Wimbledon champion in 2001, is 50. Michael Johnson, the athlete, four-time Olympic athletics gold medalist 92, 96 and 2000, is 54. Dame Eleanor King, Lady Justice of Appeal, chairwoman of the Judicial College, is 64. David Lelliot, the UK ambassador to El Salvador, is 55. Dame Carolyn McCall, the chief executive of ITV, formerly of EasyJet, is 60. Lord Colin Moynihan, the chairman of British Olympic Association until 2012 and Minister for Sport until 1990, is 66. Robin Smith, the cricketer for England until 1996, is 58. Zach Starkey, the drummer in The Who, is 56. Richard Tice, leader and chairman of the Reform UK Party, boo, is 57. Martin Vickers, Conservative MP for Cleethorpes, 71. Shane Warne, cricketer for Australia until 2007, is 52. And Christopher Woodward, the director of the Garden Museum, London, is 52. On this day in 1940, Buckingham Palace was bombed by Luftwaffe with one workman dying. There were 9 direct hits on the palace. After this bombing, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, said, "I am glad we have been bombed. It makes me feel I can look the East End in the face." I don't believe that quote was actually said. In 1970, a Concorde prototype landed for the first time at Heathrow, leading to noise complaints. And the last word today goes to Francis Bacon, the philosopher, in his Essays, 1625. "There is no excellent beauty that hath not some strangeness in the proportion." In the world news, women hide in Taliban's heartland. Female students allowed if they follow the dress code. Cable car orphan kidnapped by Israeli relative, a 6-year-old boy whose parents died. Cable car crash in Italy has been flown to Israel by his grandfather amid a family custody battle and claims he was abducted. Weekend will no longer start on Friday in Dubai, says Melanie Swan. A shift to Monday to Friday working week is being considered by the United Arab Emirates to bring it in line with the global economy. In the past few years in the Gulf state have included decriminalisation of alcohol and cohabitation. This summer, Dubai allowed restaurants to stay open during Ramadan, where Muslims fast until sunset. The UAE is known for its large proportion of Westerners, and the proposal is to move from Friday to Saturday Middle Eastern weekend has drawn a mixed reaction. The government denied changing the rules after social media lit up, but talks have taken place. Friday is the Muslim holy day marked by prayer and family gathering. One idea is that civil servants work a half day on Friday, but private sector employees work a full day. It's KK Null's birthday today, so happy birthday to KK Null, says Mark Kenosis. Chronotherm, these columns remind me of the business card scene from American Psycho, trying to one-up each other in psychotic ways. I think there's something to do with that. But they actually think this is good. They write this stuff, right? These weird things. And they think they're writing moving prose that really changes the world rather than psychotic outpourings. On page 30, Putin accuses US of poll trickery. Well, of course he does. Pope rebuke for Orban on migrants. By the way, the Putin thing is him saying that the United States army was behind a tactical voting project run by allies of the imprisoned opposition leader Alexei Navalny before a parliamentary election. Well, we do know that the Americans do interfere in elections, but I don't know if they would necessarily bother with the Russian ones. America alarms Saudis by withdrawing missiles. Pentagon has withdrawn advanced anti-missile systems from Saudi Arabia, raising concern in the kingdom about American military commitment to the Middle East. I can't say this more clearly. Fuck the Saudis. On page 31, Texas workers offered chance to leave after abortion ban. A big US tech firm has offered to help its employees to permanently leave Texas amid the backlash over the state's near-total ban on abortions. That's Salesforce. Evangelical Lutherans get their first transgender bishop. One of America's largest churches has become the first to install a transgender bishop. The Reverend Megan Rohrer will lead one of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America's 65 synods, overseeing nearly 200 congregations. Bishop was confirmed at a service in the Grace Cathedral in San Francisco at the weekend. Rohrer, 41, told worshippers, "If you let me in, I think you will. My hope is to love you, and beyond that, to love what you love." Rohrer, who uses the pronoun they, was elected in May, served a 6-year term as Bishop of the Sierra Pacific Synod after the previous bishop announced his retirement. "My installation will celebrate all that is possible when we trust God to shepherd us forward," they said. Rohrer, who's married with 2 children, was previously a chaplain coordinator for the city's police department and helped administer the city's homeless and LGBTQ community. Evangelical Lutheran Church is one of the largest Christian denominations in the United States, about 3.3 million members. Fuck Texas, the C-122, H-122. Yeah, Red 60 wouldn't be the first time the US interfered in the Russian election. Yeah, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. But also, it's like, I mean, I could, in some ways, yeah, you're right. I could see them doing it. It's fucking pointless, isn't it? Socialist mayor in Paris has alienated the left and infuriating motorists as he runs for president, writes Adam Sage. Can't be nice to socialists, not even if they're in another country. In the business news, they've got a picture of the vast container ship arriving in Felixstowe. Working from home puts brave deals at risk, is a claim. Fund managers and analysts need to look prospects in the eye and feed off colleagues more of this shit. Paul Johnson says the mess of our present health and tax systems is a product of history. Yeah, no shit. He's director of the Institute for Fiscal Studies, so what do you expect from that? Slickermeyer, Lutherans always remind me of Drop Dead Gorgeous. Me too, actually. The story of Mrs. Wordsmith offers a salutary tale for the state's future fund, reports James Hurley. Mrs. Wordsmith says that it's on the way to becoming every child's favourite English teacher. The education startup has a new management team, including Nick Perrott, a former HarperCollins executive. HarperCollins is owned by News Corp. It operates in a market that boomed during COVID-19 restrictions, and its games and publications, which include characters created by the artist behind DreamWorks' blockbuster movie Madagascar, have been praised from promising stuff then for taxpayers who backed the company via the government's future fund last September. Sadly, no. The entity in which the public invested failed less than 6 months after receiving the money, with its key assets acquired out of insolvency on the same day by a business controlled by a Monaco-based hedge fund tycoon. The tax fund stands to get about £40,000 back of its £650,000 investment. Oh, that's cause our economy is fucking corrupt. Mark Kenosis, I think that would make Martin Luther really mad, and that makes me happy. This meme brought to you by the Thomas Munster gang. From an Essex toilet maker to killing kittens, the sex parties organiser, the Future Fund has seen the state back an eclectic array of companies, and intervention effectively will result in the government running one of Europe's largest venture capital funds. The rationale for the Future Fund was that the growth-oriented venture-backed startups tend to be loss-making, making them ineligible for the government's core pandemic emergency lending programs, which provided tens of billions of pounds of credit to small and medium-sized companies. So anyway, yeah, I mean, they're just, whatever. Who gives a fuck? It's like my working from home has literally transformed my life. I was on 5 meds to manage chronic pain, and now I'm on it on 2. This propaganda about return to the office is giant. Fuck you to disabled people. It absolutely is, and it's about. It also implies that disabled people should be prevented from working in any number of industries, which of course they should not. Stephen Vinicenzi, the priapic author, which just means he was the complete perv, for good or for ill. Priapic author of In Praise of Older Women, who pimped for the US Army, slept his way around Europe and quarrelled with colleagues, has died. He was 88. Quote from him: "I learned the best way to learn a language was in bed. I was a good student." Jesus God. Hissene Habre, president of Chad, who won Western support but was later found guilty of crimes against humanity, including rape and torture. Don't write those things with a bot. That's one of the reasons they find Western support. Hissene Habre, he's died, age 79. Michael Chapman, singer-songwriter, best known for Fully Qualified Survivor, who crossed paths with Elton John, David Bowie, and a flatulent bear, has died. He was age 80. What is this thing about the flatulent bear? Just trying to find the flatulent bear. He never runs short of good stories, told of a bottle of wine and a roaring fire at his 19th century stone farmhouse close to Hadrian's Wall. They included the tale of a 1970s gig in Sacramento, California, with the guitarist John Fahey and a flatulent performing bear, which Fahey got drunk on Guinness. The bear grabbed the microphone like Rod Stewart, he recalled. They collapsed with this giant, poisonous bear fart. We are a pro-flatulent bear stream, but not in making bears perform. Mark Anosis met Michael Chapman once. Met him once. He was a lovely man. Yeah, he wrote some great songs. Fred Dixie, supported by the West, you say? Priapic is an excellent word, it is. In the sport, watch out. Wimbledon, Raducanu targets next summer after making history at US Open. Halo saved my life in crash, says Hamilton. That is the Times. Give me your scores to the Times, and we come inevitably to the Daily Mail, the final paper of the day. Gonna bosh through this relatively quickly. I know I started a bit late today, basically because I did not sleep properly, because I'd sleep on the sofa, protecting the house from the ghosts or the imagined monsters who were walking around the upper floor of our house and were keeping Kid in the Room awake. Mark Anosis says of Michael Chapman, also kept on experimenting to the very end. His weirder records are later ones. I always respect that. I did have some sleep before this. Dealing with the bogeymen, I was up here preventing bogeymen gaining access to the house, and I can say I succeeded, but I did not succeed in getting, I would say, any more than about 4 hours sleep. I just slept for another 2 hours this morning after I did some work earlier on, and I woke up from a sleep feeling not at all refreshed. Okay, here we go. Daily Mail front page. Of course, it's Emma Raducanu, and they promised unrivaled pictures and reports. Spoiler, they don't have them. On page 3, victorious Emma opens way to OBE. That's the thing, the suggestion that she's going to get an honour immediately tells you how disturbed Britain is as a country. She can't just be successful in sport. She has to immediately be given a gong and acquired by the British establishment. It's reminiscent of a very it's evidence of a very insecure, cursed country. Mick the Bogeyman Hunter, that is me. On pages 4 and 5, Queen hails Queen of Tennis. The Queen sent her a letter, whatever, she liked it, fine. Pages 8 and 9, the making of a global superstar. Pages 6 and 7, nervous, hushed, an eruption of joy. A really disturbed piece, which I cover in the newsletter today, by David Jones. I'm certain Emma can avoid the pitfalls of being a teenage tennis star. And then he brings up people like Jennifer Capriati, who, had a really difficult teenage years, but did go on to earn $10 million as a tennis player. C122, H122. I do my job well, but I don't get an OBE. Bingo. On page 11, Hamilton cheats deaths. Big picture of that. Pages 12 and 13, Jazz passport model. Of course, there's a model they just making up as they go along. Frustration of Kabul interpreters as pet charity staff escape. Dogs home staff are a higher priority. So, this disgusting. Dominic Lawson says, good luck spending millions trying to live forever, Mr. Bezos, but eternity would be the death of me. His reason being, he's a boring bastard and he can't imagine living on being a boring bastard forever. On page 17, the most boring job in Britain, 500 feet long and as wide as a house, 2 monster HS2 drills are chewing their way through the Chilterns. Our man hopped on board for an express ride at 1 centimetre a minute. On page 19, new questions for Charles over offer to meet Russian. New questions means he's corrupt as all hell. Never drank with Andrew and young girls, rants Rudy Giuliani during a speech where he claimed that Hillary Clinton was never at ground zero, even though there is a picture of Rudy Giuliani stood next to Hillary Clinton. So let's just say his claims of never drinking with Prince Andrew and young girls do not ring particularly true. On page 21, revealed real-life bong lair hidden in the Rock of Gibraltar. You can't keep hiking taxes, Cabinet. Big guns, tell Boris. Who's among these big guns? Why, Liz Truss. Yeah, big gun, all right. Alison Boshoff. The most disturbingly named of the male muckrakers, says, can Gordon's girl lift the glitter ball? No. On page 25, gilt-edged brooch. Anglo-Saxon jewellery stolen from museum is returned after 26 years. Britty back in hot water over secret lobbying lunch. Priti Patel will suffer no consequences of that. September 13th, 2021. On this day in 1977, the Daily Mail wrote, today, Margaret Thatcher meets US President Jimmy Carter. The meeting shows what Washington thinks of the Tory leader's future. For many other opposition chiefs have vied for such approval and been kicking their heels. September 13th, 1980, the Daily Mail wrote, Nicola Gray will make history when she takes her dog out next week. She is to be the Metropolitan Police's first woman dog handler to go on street patrols. WPC Gray and her German Shepherd dog Paddy qualified yesterday after 14 weeks of tough training. She said yesterday, being a girl, I also welcome the security of having a dog with me. Fucking hell. That was published in 1980. Born on this day, Carol Barnes, 1944 to 2008, the Norwich-born teacher, became an ITN newsreader and News at 10 anchor. Despite her radio boss's concerns, her accent was too posh. Being too posh will never stop you getting anywhere in Britain, will it? She was heavily pregnant when she covered the Brixton riots in 1981, and also when she tracked down Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini in exile in France. John Smith, 1938 to 1944, was born on this day. The Labour leader was expected to become Prime Minister, but was succeeded by Tony Blair after Smith's sudden death from a heart attack. According to one obituary, he had achieved a personal ascendancy unmatched by any Labour leader since Clement Attlee. His daughter, Sarah Smith, is the BBC's Scotland editor. On September 13th, in 1902, English burglar Harry Jackson became the first person to be convicted of a crime on the basis of fingerprint evidence. And in 1922, the world's highest temperature in the shade, 58 degrees C, was recorded at El Azizia, Libya. In 2012, the World Meteorological Organization disqualified the record, saying it could have been inaccurate by as much as 7 degrees. Quote of the day, the road of knowledge leads to the palace of wisdom. That was Tom Wolfe, the American author. I mean, I think that's kind of a paraphrase of many earlier quotes, to be honest. And joke of the day. What do you call an ass with 3 legs? A wonky donkey. Yeah. Is there such a thing as too posh? No. The Neon Lady, you missed a lot of psychotic articles. Do check out the newsletter if you want to read about some of them. But also the show will be up to rewatch on YouTube. Yeah, that joke was not funny. Pages 25 and 26 and 27, sorry. The day I caught Camilla smoking a woodbine in the bushes, and how I cast a future head of MI5 in Cinderella. Meet my very own fairy tale princess and was humiliated by Sophia Loren. More from Giles Brandreth's biography, a book I don't think any of us needed. Mark Kenosis, Wonky Donkey was literally a segment of the Ant and Deck show in the early 2000s. It was, and it was funny about twice. On page 29, covering up with the Kardashians, another thing about Kim Kardashian in her zip-up leather balaclava. My 5-year legal battle over a £1 parking ticket. And I won after swatting law, says artist Linda Edwards, standing in front of her massive gas-guzzling beast of a vehicle. Chequers party. Now Cameron checks out. There's a party at Chequers which was going to be attended by living prime ministers. David Cameron's not going. Tony Blair isn't going. Gordon Brown isn't going. John Major must be regretting agreeing. More excerpts from the Chips Channon diaries. Fat, wicked old Winston, the greatest opportunist and political adventurer alive. And then he talks about Prince Philip tomorrow. Wait, Kim K joined the row. Says Neon Lady. In Inspire today, women making farms Britain's most fashionable shopping destination. Oh, fuck off. On page 32, Saudi official let 9/11 hijacker stay in flat. Yeah, look, it shouldn't have taken us 20 years for papers to be actually talking about the fact that the Saudis were up to their necks in 9/11. Just when you thought milk could get any more bonkers, along comes pea, hemp, and camel milk. Well, I mean, camel milk's been around, as long as camels have. Benjamin Zephaniah's one lesson he learned is ask how someone is and really mean it. I mean, that is good advice. On the front of the verdict, horror for Harvey. Liverpool's Elliott suffers shocking ankle injury as Struik sees red. Dr. Max, the mind doctor, is just a piece of, who gives a shit what he thinks about anything. Sue Reed contributes to an investigation why the menopause is having its day in court. They've been bullied for hot flushes, sidelined for exhaustion, or felt compelled to leave their jobs due to brain fog. After years of suffering workplace discrimination and silence, more and more women are taking a stand. Yeah, good. Red Tixie, the majority of the hijackers were Saudi. Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying Saudi government involvement as well. And the fact that many Saudi dignitaries were in defiance of a grounding of airplanes, were flown out with the cognizance of the US government following the hijacking. So, whatever. John Major and Theresa May talk about a dream blunt rotation, says Chronotherm. Hannah Betts says her icon of the week is Amelia Fox. No, thank you. In television today, pick of the day, Jamie Oliver's To Get Together. The reviews. Endeavour gets 5 stars. Britain's favourite pudding gets 3 stars. In the cartoons today, Garfield is having a sleep, and I am jealous of him. In Chloe & Co., Chloe is sat down drinking and talking to a man. In Fred Bassett's out in the garden going through the long grass and talking about rewilding. Lovely Fred. You can win a Tesla. I'd rather not. Can I not have a good car? In the straight to the point letters, Ian Fuller often writes in, says, who is the most useless, Priti Patel or Cressida Dick? Diane Silver says, I once mistook Education Secretary Gavin Williamson for Albert Steptoe. Easily done. E. Williams says, have you noticed a similarity between Bergerac's Superintendent Barney Crozier and Matt Hancock? No, because I actually have things to do with my life. Jerry Doyle says, with people working from home on the sofa, should I invest in shares in DFS or backache cures? We're months into this, Jerry, mate. Give it a rest. Alan Winter says, my friend was also against imported goods. He refused to buy a TV with the label built-in antenna. And Neville Withers, real name, writes, dogs in art galleries. If one left a calling card on the floor, it would probably win the Turner Prize. Oh, fucking hell. No poems today, you'll be glad to know. Don't get poems on Mondays. Today's recipe is speedy sausage stroganoff tagliatelle. It honestly looks like something a dog brought up. They're trying to get you to go on a cruise. They're trying to get you to buy mattresses. They're trying to get you to buy stuff to clean your patio. Trying to get you to buy a leaf blower. Trying to get you to do equity release. And in the sport, happy and glorious. Emma is delighted the Queen stayed up to watch her create history. Record viewing figures for a US Open triumph. Now she's red hot favourite for Sports Person of the Year crown. And guaranteed a New Year gong. Gong. Right, that's the Daily Mail. A sextuple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69, 69, 69. No thank you. Mark Cano says, I'm okay with dogs in art galleries, but only if they're playing cards. Red Tixie gives it 10 out of 10, no poems. Mark Kenosis, a brief moment in every stream where I confuse Hannah bets with Leah bets. Yeah, very different trajectories. C122, H122 likes the fact that Teslas catch fire. Okay, so that was today's stream, the first stream of the week. Thank you for joining me, and especially those who have tuned in while on breaks or just skiving off in their work factories. I will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Always am. On the weekdays, unless there is some unforeseen circumstance. Let me just quickly do a roll call here. I am the Broken Bottle Boy. Follow me on Twitter. SK the Crusader tuning in from the Work Factory is in the mod squad. In the users today, in the chat today. Academy Impossible, another TT viewer. Ash Flats McNulty, C122, H122. Thank you for your contributions. You've been excellent today. Clarabo 82, Commander Root, Dan Jones 3142. I hope the Libby Purvis column didn't disturb you too much. Demi Mad, Friar Bentos, thank you. You're always great. Industrial Pet also excellent. As is Chronotherm. Mark Kenosis, the stream would not be the same without Mark in the chat. Moran Skell, Parps, good name. Red Tick Seed, the excellent Red Tick Seed. Rimastino, Sligmeyer, I say it often, but I will keep saying it. Do check out her work on Instagram. She's a phenomenal photographer. Spike Trap Claire, a great name. Always good to see you in the chat. The Neon Lady, thank you for joining the show midway through. If you want to see the start of the show, it'll be up on YouTube and also as VOD on Twitch. And finally, V and K, thank you for being here today. Behooves me to say, Mark Kenosis is going to miss the next 3 days attending an academic conference like a cunt. The Neon Lady is going to miss loads of these in the future because I'm doing a master's in education factory. Oh, well. When you miss them, do watch them on YouTube. If the feeling takes you, it does help me a lot. And if sharing the video is also really helpful. If you want to help support the show and don't want to subscribe to the stream or pay for the newsletter or whatever, you can help me with a one-off donation through the Paper Fund, paypal.me/conquest of the useless. Red Tixie, going to miss most of these because I'll be on jury service. My lord, it's going to be a light week for viewers. Well, do catch up on YouTube if you feel inclined. I'd really appreciate it, and I do appreciate all of you who are regular viewers. If you're watching this on YouTube, there you go. What a transition. Do like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff. Share the video even. And I'll see you tomorrow. Those of you I won't see, pop into the Discord or catch me on Twitter. Actually, on that note, let me just share the Discord link as well. If you're not part of the Discord, you should be. It's great. It's a good place for us to complain about things when we are not together here for the show. There's a link. Cool. All right, see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m, apart from those who I won't. But, of course, you're going to watch it on YouTube for me and help me out. Bye-bye, all.